My heart is pounding. The first time I heard about the Israel National Trail was back in 1997. I had to wait another 11 years for a guidebook written in English. Despite the cow manure, I feel like I'm walking on holy ground. I mean, this is the land of the Bible. I force myself to take a break. I'm so wound up. I swear, this has to be the Garden of Eden. The trail runs alongside the Sinir River. Sometimes I have to wade right into the stream.
After slipping on a rock and falling into the water and hitting my head and my knee, I'm leaving the trail here and finding an easier route.
That easier route leads me here. Time for a reality check. Is the sun making me crazy? It's 105 degrees out there, and I've been walking for 3 hours straight. I didn't come here to sit in air-conditioned comfort in September. I'm here to get sweaty and dirty and to rack up the miles. That's the plan. I feel like I'm dying. I'm really dehydrated. But drinking plain water makes me want to throw up.
This water's actually hot.
A hose in the cemetery cools me down. This couple finds me wandering around with my pack on. They insist I stay at their kibbutz in a room set aside for hikers. I'm so confused. I don't know what to think. Tomorrow's supposed to be just as hot. Stick with the plan. I purchase what looks like yogurt. Turns out it's cottage cheese. I force down a few spoonfuls. It sits in my stomach like a rock. These are the hills of Galilee, where Jesus spent much of his 3.5 years teaching the crowds, healing the sick, casting out demons, raising the dead, and mentoring his disciples about matters of life and death. Maybe I'm following the very same path Jesus walked.
I'm trying to muster up some energy here. It's 4 miles to the next destination, but my body tells me it's 40 miles.
My plan now? Just don't die. Walk for 15 minutes. Rest for 15 minutes. Walk for 15 minutes more. Rest for 30 minutes.
I'm within a half mile of where I want to go, and yet I'm too tired to make the final push.
I make it to the bed and breakfast, dehydrated, but able to sit upright. The holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur, begins at sundown. Religious Jews stop working and spend the next 24 hours quietly evaluating their lives. So now, I look at my own life. In 1992, I hiked the Appalachian Trail. On hot and humid days, I would sometimes feel dizzy and weak. In 1997, I hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. The first day in the desert, I passed out from heat exhaustion. In 2010, I finished hiking the Continental Divide Trail. The dry heat and lack of water in New Mexico made my kidneys bleed. I ended up in a hospital. Maybe I shouldn't even be here now. And what about my back with its herniated disc? It was just 6 weeks ago the pain was so bad I couldn't walk. I was so desperate I had an experimental procedure done. The doctor stuck a long needle into my lumbar spine. He injected platelets and steroids, which gave me some relief. But now my back is hurting again, even when I lay down. If I'm not having fun, why am I doing this? I'm going home. I'll come back in March when it's cooler. Six months go by. I pick up where I left off, heading south again. It's so cold, I'm wearing long underwear. I'm directed to an unheated building the town lets hikers use. I share a damp and moldy room with a German hiker who's been on the trail for 10 weeks, going north. In the blink of an eye, we're invited to stay in a mansion with a white grand piano in the hallway. Bettina had come to the hiker room and pronounced it too cold for anyone to stay. Look at this. I've got clean sheets, a private bedroom, and I'm not dehydrated.
I'm used to having to stop and do that sort of thing over and over.
This is Sahar, a 20-year-old Israeli. He just finished his 3-year hitch in the military. Now he's hiking the Shavil Israel, as the trail is called in Hebrew. Sahar's first 3 days on the trail have been a nightmare. Constant rain, bone-chilling cold at night, getting spooked by cows on the path, and plain old loneliness. He would like to join me. This is a tough decision. I've never hiked with anyone for more than a few days. Actually, that's not quite true. I've hiked with Sophie for 5 years. She's the neighbor's dog. We walk for hours every day. But humans, that's another story. Sahar seems to appreciate my backpacking experience, and he says he wants to improve his English. As for me, I really need someone who knows the language and culture. I mean, I can't even find yogurt in the dairy section.
Is this the journal we're supposed to sign?
The room set aside for hikers at the kibbutz is great. There's even a portable heater to warm our hands. Sahar shows me how he washed his clothes in the army. I'm given a can of food that apparently is a staple found in every pack. Tuna.
Happy Purim. Purim.
Happy Purim.
After supper, we go to the community center, where the holiday of Purim is just getting started. Based on the Old Testament book of Esther, Purim celebrates the Jews' miraculous victory over their Persian enemies who tried to wipe them out. Nothing has changed in 3,000 years. The world still tries to eradicate God's chosen people by any means possible. Our day starts with an unplanned road walk. We're avoiding a section of trail that's been closed because a creek flooded over the bank.
Ole! Okay, let's check it. small fruit. Oh, it's going to be
Smells good.
Yeah, you smell it? Okay, take some.
The clementine tree is next to what some believe is the tomb of the Old Testament prophet Isaiah. It's a 30-minute uphill climb from here to our next stop, the Mount Meron Field School. 45 minutes later, we're right back where we started at the foot of the mountain, looking for Sahar's $60 guidebook. He thinks it fell out of his pack. It's nowhere to be found.
Where did I put it?
Calling somebody?
Is that, were you trying to get a hold of somebody?
No, I'm trying actually to look for
A store?
a pizza in the area.
Because it's Purim, no pizza shop is open.
Yeah, really hot.
We settle for hiker food. Snow-capped Mount Hermon sits right on Israel's northern border, with Kibbutz Dan close by. Hard to believe it's 6 days from there to here.
Awesome.
Sahar calls home because of the holiday.
לא, זה באמת, לא באמת, באמת סבבה, אני מטייל והכל טוב.
He's talking to his dad. Their relationship has been strained for a long time.
כן, כן, אני יודע.
Sahar's tears take me back to the dysfunctional relationship I had with my own father. Mom's holding me here. 4 years after this photo was taken, Dad left us and never returned. Lord, have mercy on us, whose hearts are forever scarred. A Bedouin shepherd watches us with suspicion. I'm told these Arabic nomads keep to themselves and do their own thing. When Sahar was a rebellious teenager, he rejected his parents' Orthodox faith. They happened to be in the neighborhood visiting religious sites.
My dad called Shimon.
Hey, Shimon. How are you? Greetings.
הבאתם מלא דברים איתכם.
קיבלנו לפני שיצאנו מורחקים.
מה, משלוח מנות?
שתי משלוחים מנות.
לא, יש לי. זה טונה.
His pack, way too heavy already, is now way, way too heavy. At the end of the day, Sahar's parents meet us at a road crossing. We're headed to a trail angel's house about 5 miles away. Like Bettina, trail angels are generous and kind folks listed on the internet who open up their home to hikers for the night. And what a night it is, the final meal of Purim. Seated around our table is a landscaper, a lawyer, a Torah scribe, a teacher. The host is a forester. They happen to be followers of a deceased rabbi who, back in the 1990s, lived in Brooklyn, New York. A room down the hallway is where we eventually go to sleep. I love the quiet sounds of nature. On the other hand, Sahar surrounds himself with music day and night. Back home, he's really into the all-night dance party scene.
A good song for the morning, for the mood. Great song.
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we've been hiking since 8 this morning, and we've only gone 7 miles.
Sahar calls a trail angel. First, she says no, there's no room. Then she changes her mind and says maybe, but she won't be home until late. Sahar's parents are still touring the Galilee region. At the end of the day, they drop us off in Tiberius. We have lots of time to kill. Sahar buys another guidebook at the bookstore. It's 8 o'clock and we still don't know where the host lives. When she finally calls with directions, they're so confusing, even the cab driver takes a while to finally figure it out. We step out of the elevator into a pitch-black hallway. Nobody told us where to go from here. Finally, a door opens.
היי מיכל.
רגע.
אני שר. ואת נהנית מהעבודה עם נור, עם כל המפגש הזה, זה די מתיש כאילו.
I think the host views this trail angel gig as a way to interview potential boyfriends. I would leave them alone, except I have no place to go. She tells Sahar the living room floor is where we stay. Just before midnight, the host and some of her roommates decide to exercise. Since nobody shows even the slightest interest in sleeping, I try to catch up on emails. I'm feeling really, really old. Sahar's parents have gone home, so we have to hitch the 6 miles back to where we left the trail. My shirt is proof we just climbed from 400 feet below sea level to 600 feet above. A cloud of steam hovers over the northern end of the Sea of Galilee. It's a few degrees cooler up here. These hikers started in the desert down south 2 months ago. Temperatures in the Negev, as they call the desert, never topped 70 degrees in January. No wonder we're the only hikers going south. By the time we get there, the desert's going to be brutal, even deadly.
Okay.
The local trail angel can't put us up. He mentions some beachfront property at the south end of the Sea of Galilee that the town lets hikers use. When nobody comes by to unlock the gate, we take matters into our own hands. It feels really good to be here at the Sea of Galilee. 80 miles down, 520 to go. Camping on the beach of the Kinneret, which is what Sahar calls the Sea of Galilee, has been a lifelong dream of his. He decides to take the whole day off. That's okay by me. After all, this is the water Jesus walked on. It'll be fun to meditate on those ancient vibrations. I've put it off long enough. Today's the day I figure out, once and for all, where things are in a grocery store.
My favorite, chocolate milk, yogurts, soups, canned vegetables. 28, that's $7. Tuna fish, crackers, and more crackers, chocolate, ice cream, more ice cream, breads, chips, coffee, dates.
If I'd been hiking alone, lying around all day would have seemed like a waste of precious time. I have to admit, Sahar is a good influence.
So we have some seeds, flashlight, and batteries. Oh, oh.
That makes my day. But I'm surprised. Sahar actually took my advice to lighten his load. A lot of guys seem to think it's macho to carry big packs. I guess they also think it's cool to stay up all night. A karaoke party next to the beach started at 7 o'clock last night and didn't stop until 4 a.m. this morning. I'm a light sleeper. Needless to say, I'm running on empty right now. This took 3 years of practice in the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces.
10 o'clock in the morning, no breeze, very warm, and we've already been lost twice.
That's real.
You can speak English if you want.
Oh, right on. I speak English better.
Yeah.
Where are you guys from?
I come from Ofakim.
From where?
Ofakim,
Uh-huh.
near Be'er Sheva.
Nice.
And I'm from Pennsylvania.
Nice. I grew up in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 24.
Uh-huh.
Where are you guys hiking to today?
Kfar Kish.
Nice. I'm heading that way myself.
And now with Jerome, we're a trio.
She's playing with all the kids.
I'm kind of relieved Sahar has someone his age to relate to. They talk about everything from music to psychedelic mushrooms to what it means to be Jewish. Tonight we share a barn with the birds and the bees.
I don't know. I'm just looking for a place maybe to open my pen.
Looks like everything we need is here. And of course, the hot shower. This happens to be Jerome's third bath today. If cleanliness is next to godliness, we hikers are very spiritual. We head for the distinctive mountain on the horizon, passing olive trees in bloom, and begin our ascent of legendary Mount Tabor, nearly 2,000 feet tall. This is where a brave female leader of Israel named Deborah defeated the Canaanite army 3,200 years ago. The Old Testament book of Judges says God used even the stars in heaven to propel the Jews to victory.
Does that mean that you made
I made Aliyah.
Aliyah?
Correct.
Okay.
This lady grew up in New York City. She and her retired friends do day hikes on the Cheville. In 5 years, they do the whole trail.
Travel insurance?
Over the centuries, many religions have staked their own claims to Israel's land. Looks like the Catholics got to the top of Mount Tabor first. I'm not allowed in because I'm wearing shorts. We're approaching Nazareth, the hometown of Jesus. Nowadays, the population is predominantly Arabic.
I consider myself a Jew because I was born Jewish and because I maintain Jewish traditions, but
Because you're cut, your penis is cut.
because I was, freaking, they chopped my penis when I was 8 days old.
Yeah.
But I like to learn about, at least dabble in a variety of forms of mysticism, you know, and ways to channel the great spirit of the unknown.
The trailblazers disappear in an ancient olive grove. We ask a local resident where the Cheville goes from here, but he doesn't know what we're talking about. We decide to bushwhack, heading for the top of the hill. It's Shabbat, Friday night. Yoram Carney, the family elder, saw Sahar on the trail earlier today. He invited us to spend the night. Yoram fought in 4 different conflicts, beginning with the 6-Day War. That's when Egypt, Jordan, and Syria tried to overrun Israel back in 1967. He's also done the trail 3 times. Tonight, the world under Yoram's roof feels safe and secure. The trail takes us through Arab towns and neighborhoods. I feel anxious. Many of these people read a 10th century document that says it's a good thing to kill Jews. I wonder how these Arabic citizens of Israel interpret such verses. Do they ignore them? Do they express them in passive-aggressive ways? Today, I feel like a bodyguard. The only weapon I have is prayer. A side trail leads us to Zippori, an ancient village built before the time of Jesus.
Hello, Cleveland!
Most of this was constructed by the mighty Roman Empire.
These are crazy.
I think so.
Sometimes I live under the moon. I thank God I'm breathing. And I hope don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity
הלו. שלום, אני מדבר עם ברוך? מדבר שר, אני שביליסט. לא יודע, פשוט...
The trail angel says he's burned out.
העבירו לי רשימה.
He doesn't host hikers
כן,
anymore.
אחד השביליסטים ש...
כאילו זה לא סופר רועש פה.
A local resident says it's okay to camp behind the grocery store.
זה לא הולך להיות בעיה פה בלילה.
כן, לא.
We're heading for Mount Carmel, the long mountain range in the distance. Somewhere on this mountain, The Old Testament prophet Elijah had a dramatic showdown with 450 of the prophets of Baal. Baal got his butt kicked.
My name is Roman. I'm from Berlin, Germany. Hello.
How tall are you?
In feet or in centimeters? Centimeter, 193.
In feet?
I think it's 6'3", 6.3.
And what size are your feet?
That's a question. Yeah. Big.
I have size 14.
Me too, yes. See you guys. Shalom.
Bye.
Or
See you guys.
Have fun.
Enjoy the descent.
We will.
Alright guys, I think I'm out of here.
Jerome is getting off the trail. He's tired of beating up his body and sweating so much. He thinks he might spend some time in a retreat center, meditating and checking the women out. Tonight's trail angel is a Jew who lives in a Muslim neighborhood in a Druze village. Only in Israel.
We start off the day by losing the trail within the first 10 minutes. So now we're looking for the green blaze.
Some schools are on field trips to Mount Carmel today.
זה השליש הגבוה של הכרמל. הכרמל התיכון זה כל האמצע והכרמל הנמוך זה הסוף. סבבה? זה המלבן הזה. עכשיו אנחנו מחלקות לבנות למי שרוצה. תקים.
An artist community greets us with their handiwork. A short afternoon shower puts Sahar in a bad mood. He wants to stop for the day. My argument is simple. I only have so much time before my body starts falling apart. The clock is ticking. We have to keep moving. This is the longest I've hiked with anyone. Frustrations are starting to pile up. For starters, Sahar keeps losing stuff. First, the guidebook, today, his towel. He's cold at night, but doesn't want to get a warmer sleeping bag. And his pack's too heavy, but he won't get rid of his heavy sandals or his 4 pair of underwear. Plus, he takes breaks too often. Is there a cultural thing I'm missing here? Lord, I really need patience. I need to improvise on hiking shorts, since my only pair just split in the rear. I'm going to sacrifice my rain pants. I disappear down a side trail to shoot these Roman ruins. Sahar doesn't see me take the detour, and he keeps going. He thinks I'm way up ahead and sort of freaks out. He starts running down the mountain, falling over rocks and hurting himself in the process. By the time I get to town, he's been here for an hour, very angry over the mix-up. Somehow it's my fault that he's so sore. Of course, keeping my cell phone turned off doesn't help matters any. I'm not sure if it's punishment or what, but we end up sleeping on uneven ground in the town square. The 10th Roman Legion was here. They built this first-century aqueduct, which carried water from a spring 4 miles away.
Excuse me. Thank you.
The unresolved tension from yesterday's screw-up only gets worse as we wind our way through Arab neighborhoods.
Not good for my back.
My abrupt refusal to take a break just 30 minutes into the hike exposes my short fuse. 10 minutes later, the Mediterranean Sea. And another break. I can't take it anymore. I tell Sahar I'll meet him up ahead, and off I go. At a gas station and car wash, I call Sahar to let him know where I'm at.
Okay, I'll just wait here, and come on up here, and we'll make some plans.
Two hours later, he catches up. He says he's been walking barefoot in the sand, and his feet are really beat up. I knew this was coming. Sahar is taking some time off the trail. He's going to hang out with an army buddy in town. He says something about meeting up further down the trail. Today was Sahar's 21st birthday. Should we have taken the day off? Did he deliberately sabotage his hike just so he could stop? I'm nervous. My biggest fear? Not being able to understand what people say. Plain English is tough enough. Put an accent on it, my brain is ready to explode. I call it my private hell because it's made learning so difficult all my life.
1, 2, please.
I gotta decide what I'm doing tonight.
Call.
Plan A. Call a trail angel.
Hello? Hello? Hi, my name's Lynn. I'm hiking the Israel Trail. Yeah. And hi. And I see, according to the list, that you folks offer shower, laundry, food, close to the sea, internet. Is that?
But I will stop you for a moment. We no longer live in Kinneret.
Oh.
She says they don't live around here anymore. From here on out, I can't follow what she's saying. My brain has just shut down. Plan B. Sleep on the beach. I remember Sahar saying it sounds like fun, but it's really not. Sand gets into everything. Plan C. Go back to the list and call the resort. They put me up in one of their tents in the backyard. I made it through the day without crashing. I'm not sure whether I should laugh or cry.
my name's Lynn. I'm hiking the Israel Trail, and I'm calling for Popeye. Hello? I'll just keep calling names on the list here. Okay, thank you. Bye. That's all right. That's okay. All right, take care.
This is Tel Aviv, the most westernized and secular city in all of Israel. Since no trail angel was available, I go for the cheapest place I can find in town. For $25, I get a neighborhood that's noisy at night, with 5 people crammed into my room.
Heard a lot of things, believed a lot of things.
Colin is dying of throat cancer. He doesn't get out of bed. There's a blood stain on his pillow. He comes from Australia in search of a last-minute miracle.
Maybe
Shlomo is a very angry 46-year-old Israeli. That's because his best friend just stole his entire life savings, $125,000.
time for the month, one time.
After watching me do a horrible job repairing my shorts, Shlomo can't stand it anymore. He grabs the needle and does it his way. My final chore for the day, washing clothes on the balcony.
Maybe there's a God above, but all I ever learned from love is how to shoot somebody who outdrew. Well, it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a cold and a broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
A beat-up, tired Christian, and a financially devastated Jew, serenaded by a pilgrim from New Zealand of the Baha'i religion. I didn't get any sleep. I'm moving to another hostel. This one is dedicated to the 11 Jewish athletes killed by Muslim terrorists at the 1972 Olympics. Their pictures are in the lobby. I'm mentally exhausted. I think of Colin, only a few hours from death. Shlomo, trying to cope with his bitterness. Sahar, his dream going up in smoke. This is the first time I've experienced solitude in over 2 weeks. Peace and quiet. Where have you been? The guidebook says, this stream is so polluted, I should wrap my feet in garbage bags before wading across. I don't have any garbage bags. Suddenly, God sends a guy. Seriously, this is Guy. He's taking a shortcut to work and arrives just in time to ferry me across. Time for lunch, next to the first building to be made in Israel with reinforced concrete. It was built in 1912, a time when tens of thousands of Jews were flocking to Israel due to persecution in Russia and Europe. My trail angels tell me the shots I heard were coming from army bases. Seated across from me is the mom, the grandma, the 12-year-old son, and right next to me, a friend of the family. The dad is working, 2 other sons are in the army, and there's a daughter visiting Poland with her high school class. They're going to concentration camps, remembering and never forgetting Adolf Hitler's sophisticated plan to exterminate them.
She's the owner and the husband. Her husband is my son.
Somebody told me Israel is a small country, and so it is. Here's the family friend I met last night.
I met you yesterday.
Oh, how are you?
So you know where you go?
Yeah, I'm getting kind of a late start, but
Okay.
I guess that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I saw some hikers go an hour ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The trail angel disappears after directing me to her basement. That's fine by me. With spring busting out all over, blazes become harder than ever to spot. This is the legendary Burma Road, built in 1948 during the War of Independence. It provided an emergency supply line to Jerusalem, which was being blockaded by the Arabs. The trail passes by an archaeological site that dates back to the 5th century AD.
It seems to be that we have the remains of a farmhouse. The area that we're in has a lot of high groundwater, and every ounce of water being very precious in the Middle East, they built this large cistern, which you can see in front of you. I've heard of Southern hospitality. We have Middle Eastern hospitality.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you.
When you drink it, tell them if it's good or not. That's what he...
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Let me ask you this: Are you guys doing trail angels, or are you camping out most of the time?
Most of the time we are camping without what the word?
Trail angel?
No, without
a tent.
Yes, tent. Just with our
oh wow.
This.
Yeah.
But now when we came to the north, so every day you finish at every day you finish at a city or so I think that now we will sleep most of trail angels.
And what's been your favorite food on the trail?
Trina. You know what is?
What is it?
Trina.
Trina?
You don't know what is?
What is it like?
It's like you know what is hummus?
Yeah. The ever-popular high school field trip requires constant vigilance. Hiring the necessary security makes these trips expensive for the school. A trailside display explains tank warfare, while military jets patrol the skies. The message is clear: anti-Semitism is not going away. Oh man, I find myself choking back the tears. 6 million trees planted to remember the Holocaust victims. Hi there. A Bedouin family claims ancestral rights to do their thing here as well. I'm staying at one of the few kibbutzim that has remained true to its collective roots. It pays all of its workers the same wage. My introverted nature leads me to the room set aside for hikers. Israeli hospitality calls me out.
How did you heard about Shvil Israel? I didn't get it.
I heard about it in the 90s.
The legendary hills of Jerusalem, Mount Zion included, unfold before my eyes. Known as the best hospital in Israel, the Hadassah Medical Center is up ahead. This is as close as the trail takes me to the actual city of Jerusalem. Now the trail is leading me westward, away from Jerusalem and away from the Palestinian-controlled West Bank. The Old Testament prophet Daniel calls Jerusalem God's holy hill. The terrain certainly drives that point home.
I'm massaging the parts that are starting to hurt.
I finally see an iris in bloom. This is the modest headquarters of Vertigo, the famous Israeli dance company. They let hikers sleep in their eco-village. The shower uses rainwater that's been gathered in tanks and heated by the sun. Vertigo's carbon footprint treads very lightly upon the earth. The wide valley below is where the young shepherd boy David confronted Goliath, the Philistine enemy soldier who was 9 feet tall. David killed him with a single stone shot from a sling. Busloads of kids participating in the Odyssey program swarm over the popular historical site.
This is called Masai Israeli in Hebrew.
Michael is one of the instructors.
It's not like a field trip, it's an odyssey. And it's a 6-day program. It starts early in the morning on Monday and it ends Saturday night. Every day is devoted to another aspect of our lives here. Today we're on the day of our connection to the land. And that's why we always go to a place where a lot of actions that took place in the Bible took place here. That's what connects us to this land, the Bible.
And what happened here specifically in terms of the Bible?
Here, the big story of David and Goliath, right? Everyone thinks that David was the underdog. He wasn't. Goliath had no chance.
For the first time, I've been noticing flies that bite.
In the south especially, or...
I ask a northbound hiker about the rumor that Bedouins in the desert steal your stuff.
People just woke up in the morning without bags at all. The cell phone, the wallet, everything is stolen. So you need to be careful.
At the end of every day, I'm overwhelmed by the sights and the sounds and the people of Israel. A deep sleep is my only escape from this fantastic country.
I've been eating so well on the trail. By the time I stopped at this grocery store, I couldn't even find the room in my stomach for chocolate milk. Please, somebody stop me.
These kids are reenacting the Exodus, the ancient story about the Jews fleeing Egypt after some 400 years of slavery. Before they make their midnight escape, God tells them to eat an unblemished sacrificial lamb, to acknowledge His control over all things. In 10 more days, the entire country will spend a week celebrating that famous event known as Passover.
When I got on the trail at 6 o'clock this morning, my hands were cold. Now it's 10 o'clock and it's starting to get very, very warm.
I've been on trail for 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks, and it's been amazing so far. I think the most challenging part was the desert, in which you have to either carry a lot of water or sort out with people to drop water at places you're gonna go to. He's laughing at me. That makes me embarrassed.
Let's see.
So this is the Tchina. It's basically everything you need if you're traveling around Israel or anywhere else. It's high in not in carbs, in protein and calcium.
How do you spell it? In English?
Tchina? I think it's called tahini.
Tahini?
Tahini. I think, but in Hebrew it's spelled like, if you spell it like it's pronounced in Hebrew, it's Thina. So have a sip of that. I'll have a sip first, so you can like.
Okay.
You usually eat it with like a lemon or.
You just kind of like squirt it into your mouth?
No, I mean you make it. You mix it. Usually you mix it with water and lemon and pepper and.
This is not the.
That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it.
That's just enough to give me a taste.
Yeah, that's for the. You mix it with a lot of different
I'd like
things.
to put it on bread. It seems like it'd be good on bread.
Okay, you mix it with water, like something like half tchina, half water. You add some salt, some lemon, and perhaps pepper and garlic if you have some, and you're golden.
The Phillip farm is a roadside zoo and a food stand. It's only 1:30, but I'm worn out from the heat. I'm not going any further. Lavana, the resident stray, keeps me company. Around evening time, there's enough room in my stomach to try their pita bread special. They give me several dips, including tahini, or is it hummus, or is it trina with an H? I aim for the solitary 400-year-old acacia tree. Seen for miles around, it's always been a landmark for travelers and even Air Force pilots.
It's 1 o'clock right now. I'll be hitting the desert in about 3 days. And when it starts to heat up, this would not be a wise time to be walking.
I haven't seen this before. A security fence around the entire perimeter of the kibbutz. With the West Bank only 3 miles away, this is what the Jews have to do in order to survive. It's so quiet in here. I forget, it's the Sabbath, Saturday afternoon. Everyone is resting, except for the odd-eyed kitty. I find the hiker's room and get right to work, washing, repairing camera gear, and gulping down salty soup to replace what I keep sweating out. I spend hours drawing up complicated plans for my final 200 miles in the Negev desert. I've never hiked in such a severe environment where there's absolutely no water and temperatures routinely top 100 as summer approaches. I should be salivating over this new adventure, but I'm not. I'm dreading it.
The day I was hoping to take off, I'm having to move on to the next kibbutz because there's a large group of hikers coming in that needs the room.
At least it's only 3 miles I have to walk on my own day of rest.
Do I want to go straight or make a right?
No, straight and then you go right.
Okay.
You see, there is a coffee here, if you want, if you need to put something in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are going, don't leave nothing. You know, because we are not want to clean after you, or we clean after you, but if you have a food, just take it with you.
Okay.
And don't leave here garbage.
Okay.
Take it with you also. And you see this?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to shower, put it inside, and hot water will come from this system.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's a little bit slowly,
Yep.
and keep clean. Tonight you not have to open the windows because the dusty is come inside. So
Okay.
that's it.
Very good.
Enjoy your time. And here we have. You are not paid for us, but it's
Donation.
Donation.
Yep.
Okay.
Very good.
I don't know the word.
I understand.
As much you have, you want, whatever.
Okay.
Guvrin, tick. Who's more? It's my grandson. Judy.
I just broke my unbreakable plastic spoon on the Ben & Jerry's ice cream, so I think I'm going to borrow a spoon I found in the sink and leave them an extra big donation.
My shorts are on life support now, with nothing more than tenacious tape holding them together. The desert weighs heavy on my mind. (9:30) and the heat is bearing down. Do I throttle back or press on, knowing it's only going to get worse? I press on.
I'm being spared a direct assault from the sun by a layer of clouds.
A huge group of Israeli hikers emerges from the desert, punch-drunk and happy to be out of there. They survive by sticking together. I'll be doing it alone, against all advice to the contrary. The kibbutz is so small, it doesn't even have a grocery. Only 30 families live here. I'm pounding out over 20 miles a day, abusing my body in the process. I'd rather hurt at night than broil in the day.
Telescopic.
In the 1800s, a peasant from Hebron came here to start up a farm. Everyone in this city is a descendant of that one man.
Is this where I can buy ice cream? Ice cream?
Yes.
Hi.
هات المسار يلا.
In here?
اه.
How much is it?
5.
5? Okay.
بوكو. طب حط كاميرا. حط كاميرا. انت واحد.
Bedouin shepherds on both ridges see me long before I see them. I feel like I'm invading their territory. I'm certain they're watching my every move. This is Arad, the last city before entering the desert.
I made it to Arad. Major milestone. And now I'm looking for the mall.
It's known as 57 Naf. The owner actually lives in Tel Aviv, but rather than lock it up when she's not here, she lets hikers have run of the place. I call Chaim Berger. The guidebook mentions him first among outfitters providing water drops in the desert. His heavy accent makes my brain start to short circuit. If I understand correctly, he says he won't email me the directions to his drops because they're secret. He'll only give them out over the phone. But first, I have to send him $200. I think my worst nightmare has arrived. First thing in the morning, I join the line waiting for the post office to open. I pick a number and wait some more. Hi. I need to transfer some money to this bank account number.
This number, Bankador?
Yeah.
How much?
720.
Euro?
No, shekels.
Shekel, לא.
Shekels. 720.
כמה כמה אומר לי? 700 וכמה? ביורו?
שקל.
שקל.
אוקיי. 720?
כן.
10 לעמדה 6.
Give me a number passport
Oh boy.
for you.
I didn't bring my passport along. It's, my passport's about two kilometers away from here.
What number here?
That's my driver's license.
Not passport? Not number passport?
I mean, my passport's back.
No, it's okay. Number. מה אני אעשה? Number passport me?
you're gonna need my passport.
Here, number passport.
Oh.
Passport you, passport you, passport you, passport me. Where number? It's not number passport?
I mean, my passport's back at the house, which is
Where house?
2 kilometers from here.
Where?
2 kilometers from here.
It's problem.
I mean, it's going to take me.
Go and the home or come back.
It'll take. Well, I mean, I can walk there. That's what I'll have to do. I'll have to go and come back in an hour. I sign it or something?
Yes.
Now that he's got his money, I call Chaim Berger to get directions to the 9 locations where he's buried bottles of water. I'm picking up maybe 2/3 of what he's saying. I keep asking him to repeat what he just said. He gets impatient and wonders why I can't understand English. My brain starts to shut down under the blows to my ego. When I complain about my notes making no sense, he hangs up. Ridiculous. How can I hike with garbled directions? If I cannot find the water, I die. This guy is impossible to deal with. I feel like giving up and going home. I can come back some other time.
Up the trail.
Some Israeli hikers ask me to join them in the kitchen for a supper they've cooked up. They hear my story and offer to help. How? I don't know. I'll cross that bridge tomorrow. With the help of a hiker's smartphone, I contact Jacob Saar, one of the guidebook authors. He gives me great advice. Take a bus to Chaim Berger's town. Talk to him face to face. I arrive at the agreed upon time. He's not here. When he finally shows up, he's juggling 6 different calls concerning his Jeep touring business.
זה צמוד לגדה השמאלית, נכון? בסדר, נחמיה, תשלח לי, הכי חשוב באמת שנעלה את זה ליומן.
Despite the constant interruptions, I managed to get 5 of the maps before he has to dash off to lead a tour.
Celebration time.
I plan to meet up with Berger further down the trail to get the rest of the maps. My assault on the Negev, the same desert captured by Israel in the 6-Day War, is about to get underway. I wonder if it's a coincidence that I have to carry enough food for 6 days. D-Day, Desert Day, my final drink. Into the furnace I go. The Dead Sea, off in the distance, strikes my camera with its killer death ray. The GoPro survives. It's the Bedouin who looks after these God-forsaken creatures, so he must be around here somewhere, unless this one's been left to die. Time to put Berger's map to the test.
Okay, concrete electric plow. He said concrete, it's wooden.
This is my first so-called night camp, a couple hundred square yards of sand and gravel designated for camping. There are no facilities here, no toilet site, nothing. Even shade is at a premium. The guidebook says this particular camp has problems with thieves coming around after dark, so I stuff everything inside my tent. I scatter dry branches around the perimeter. I figure if a burglar approaches, he'll trigger my booby trap and I'll hear a snap.
I only got about an hour of sleep last night. Between the wind blowing and flapping this tent and my worrying about intruders, sleep was not to be found.
This is one steep climb, powered on 1 hour of sleep, 2 cups of coffee, and 100-calorie energy bar. Okay, I'm at the night camp. Here we go, trying to figure out whether his directions are correct or not. I'm looking for lots of vegetation. Thank you, Jesus.
I cannot endure another night of my tent snapping and cracking like a whip in the stiff breeze. This abandoned building, a couple hundred yards from the official night camp, is where I'm holing up.
Home sweet home.
It's only 12 o'clock. What am I going to do for the rest of the day? Checking out the Roman fortress in my front yard takes all of 15 minutes. This is another place that attracts nighttime looters and prowlers. I hope they don't see me up here.
I've only been hiking an hour. The air's very still. The sun hasn't come over the top of the mountains yet, and yet I'm covered in sweat.
Down to the bottom of the crater I go.
My back really feels crappy today. Upper and lower.
These kids are with the Walkabout Love tour group. Every night, a support vehicle greets them with prepared meals and tents already set up. If you're young and you have deep pockets, it's a nice way to hike the Cheville. Purple sand, purple sand. Here's a 360 from the floor of the crater. What goes down must go up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. This is my night camp. Not a shade tree in sight, but the good news is there's a nice stash of water already here. I found a little bit of shade underneath this bush, but there's a lot of flies here, obviously because this is where people are taking their dumps.
This makes 3 days in a row now. I'm getting into camp around lunchtime. The rest of the day is spent either fighting dehydration or reading the guidebook over and over. There's nothing else to do. Taking its cue from the setting sun, the notorious desert wind kicks up.
This stretch of trail doesn't feel compelled to take you into the wadis below or to the hills above.
This is a Roman stronghold from the 2nd century AD.
Hello!
Looking for relief from the heat, the Romans carved these steps too. I get a preview of what's coming up in the next 2 days. This is part of the dreaded Mount Carbelet, whose name means crest. The night camp is right next to an industrial plant. It's relatively quiet because Passover starts at sundown. Despite its rather odd taste, I eat double portions. The guidebook warns that tomorrow will be the most strenuous day of the entire trail. I think I need the calories. Tonight's featured entertainment: barking dogs and bright security lights.
It's already been an hour into my hike and I still feel very groggy in my head. I didn't get much sleep last night. The barking dogs made sure of that.
I'm tired. The thought of doing yet another day of ridge walking tomorrow doesn't interest me at all. I search the map and find a blue side trail that circumvents the rest of Mount Carbelet by dropping down into the valley below. On the way down, I wrestle with my guilt over leaving the main trail.
The guidebook says to come to a trail junction and turn right on a black trail. The only trail junction I've come across is a red one. So what to do? This is where I have to remember to breathe. I start to get a little worried and exert myself too hard, not drink enough water, end up with cotton mouth and gravelly throat.
Yes, Red was right. I'm back on the main trail again.
Looking at Heimberger's map, he says there's 2 white plastic poles 1 meter high. There's no white or plastic poles here to be seen. But putting that aside, then he says walk 30 to 40 steps in this direction look for the rock that's taller than a person, and then dig into the loose earth. I dug into this spot and over here, and no water was to be found. Fortunately, just at the right time, Omri came along. And he's got 12 liters of water, which he's more than happy to share.
At least 6.
It's not terribly hot today, and it's only 1 o'clock. Why not continue hiking? If I'm lucky, I might make it to a town tonight. Chocolate milk is calling me.
Are you guys heading back up the hill? Can I get a ride with you? Can I get a ride with you? All right, thank you. What's that? I called a name on the Trail Angels list, somebody named Yuval, who happens to not be here right now. He won't get here till 10 o'clock or so. So here I am, a stranger in a stranger's home.
It's one of those fruits that can grow out.
In the morning, I finally meet Yuval.
February, not February.
Since it's Passover week, the grocery store complies with religious laws regarding yeast by removing some products and hiding others. It's been 5 days since my last drink. What can I say?
The next is Guvrin.
My favorite cartographer lives in this town. I'm here to get the rest of the maps drawn up.
After Chava. Oh, Guvrin I gave you? No.
I've got Hava. That's the last one.
Okay.
This is the one that's known as Sahara.
Yes, I wrote. Guvrin Shavet Saronim. It's the same place.
Okay.
Somehow I got in my feeling that I get to this.
Mm-hmm. That's the last one right there.
Mm. Last one? Mador. Everything was working okay?
There's no water there.
Where?
At Mador.
When you've been there?
Yesterday.
Yesterday? There should be tons of water. You find the location?
Mm-hmm. There were 2 holes. I dug down in them. There's nothing there.
You find the rock? That rock. Everything was working okay?
Mm-hmm.
You find the rock, the standing rock, and then you walk behind this.
Yeah. Now this is where the sign is, right?
Yes, the plastic sign.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me while my head explodes. I eventually get the maps. I'm at the local school dormitory since Yuval isn't hosting tonight. I think this is the hiker room, but maybe not since the bathroom's locked. The bed is flimsy, but the mattress is firm. I'm staying put.
It's lunchtime at the Oasis. Comes a point in the afternoon where you've walked in the sun so long and you're so tired that just to reach in my pocket, grab a map to read it, I'll think about it for 15 minutes before actually doing it. On the left, there'll be a place with empty bottles, so I'm assuming that's what this is. And he says, take 7 steps and look for a larger and smaller rock. Okay, does anybody see a larger and a smaller rock?
Thank goodness this night camp is very popular with vacationers during Passover. So much so, park rangers set up aid stations and staff it for the entire week. Their 5-gallon water can is a lifesaver for hikers who carry Berger's maps. Hikers settle in for the night behind stone-walled enclosures. Nobody knows if the strong wind will materialize, but they're ready just in case. I actually got a good sleep last night. Now I understand why many Israelis do the desert without a tent. And I thought the other craters were large.
Shade is in short supply today. The last I saw was about 3 hours ago.
I'm struck by the irony. Jews driving eagerly into the same desert I'm anxious to leave. Then I realize that's the essence of Passover. Celebrating where your ancestors came from.
Everything's okay. Yeah, I'm close to town, I know that.
Earlier today, I got a bad report from some hikers coming from the south. I'm texting Berger.
No water at Ha-Lamed-Heh. I will be there in 2 days. Please respond. Lynn Weldon. Push send. All right. I have no assurance that he's going to understand this message. I have no assurance that when he perhaps says that he will take care of it in 2 days, that he actually will.
So I've gotten 4 messages from Berger in the 2 hours since I sent mine. The first one says, I go there today. And then the next message says, again, whatever that means. And then today also Gevinim, which is the night camp before Halat. And then finally some strange message saying, who are they? Names, meaning he's wondering who the 4 hikers were that had told me earlier today that they had also not found water at Holet night camp. So whatever you want to make of that, I still don't have an assurance that he's actually going to put water there. Every place in town is booked up for the holiday, except this one, a large one-room tent filled with rugs, pillows, and mattresses. Before you can say, one big happy family, a soccer game breaks out in the living room. Later the kids stomp on my GoPro, but I'm relieved it still works. Picking up on my irritation, the embarrassed dads compensate by graciously sharing their food. I'm sure they would have anyways. This one-room-fits-all concept isn't my cup of tea. I find it difficult to relax. Today's forecast, 100 degrees. My tent mates think I should spend another day in town. But after putting up with barking dogs and alarms ringing at 4 a.m., I can't get out of town soon enough. You can only do so much on maybe 3 hours of sleep. Well, I was hoping you guys would make the climb to the top worth it with a song or a dance or a meal.
We have a lot of food.
Oh, really?
Enjoy Israel. Information center, just 10 minutes walk from here.
Oh.
Over there is some shade, but it's like it's a tent. It's not.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I could use it.
Enjoy.
All right, you guys take care. Ranger to the rescue again. My body is shutting down from the deadly heat. I feel really sick, almost faint. 3 hours go by before I dare to move. One rock sitting on others, maybe over here. I don't see anything. With the help of another hiker, we find somebody's water. I've got the one Suddenly, a sandstorm appears out of nowhere. I don't even know what's going on other than for the last 5 minutes, this massive sand and wind storm has kicked up. I'm hiding inside what's left of a latrine outhouse. During a pause in the storm, car campers start arriving with their kites. This is one tough crowd.
Call me antisocial, but I'm positioning myself over here on this windswept plain with no rocks to block the wind, whereas about 100 yards away, 75 yards away, are probably a dozen cars with screaming babies, roaring fires, and just too much fellowship for me tonight.
Something like a tornado hit my tent around midnight. All I could do was grab the walls and hold on tight for 3 nerve-wracking hours.
I've got dust in my teeth, dust in my ears. Everything's coated with grit. I didn't get up to go to the bathroom last night, which means I'm starting out on the edge of dehydration. It's uncomfortably warm for 6:15 in the morning, and I have no idea what is in store for the weather.
Flies are really annoying today.
This is the back of my shirt. You can see all the salt wherever the pack is. After 30 heart-pounding minutes, I finally found 3, and I also had bummed this bottle off of a passing motorist.
Of all the night camps, this is the most remote. There's not even cell phone reception here. Only 4-wheel drive vehicles can make it in. I don't want to fight with my tent tonight. The bugs quickly change my mind. Over the past 3 days, I've gotten a total of 10 hours sleep. The question is, how long? How long before my adrenaline runs out?
My right knee's starting to bother me. I think I hyperextended it yesterday when I bent down. It's only 8:20 and I can really feel that sun bearing down. No clouds in the sky today. Bone tired.
Do I see golden arches down there?
It's not that I really wanted to eat McDonald's. It's just that it's cool in here.
I just went through the whole list of trail angels in town, but nobody's answering. I have no choice but to camp in the city park. For all I know, Sahar might have been next to the park last night. That's when a very loud dance party playing techno music kicked into high gear from 11 p.m. until 3 a.m.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Bedouin could care less what I think.
I only understand English.
Welcome. Welcome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.
I am now into my 7th week on the trail. My other hikes have demonstrated that after 6 weeks, almost to the day, my body starts to break down.
So you live in Zofar?
Yeah, I live in Tzova many years.
It's a nice town.
You just live in, you visit Tzova?
Yeah, well, I walked back and forth to the grocery store.
Mm.
This is how I massage my back when it starts to hurt. When the pain gets really bad, I take Vicodin, a narcotic.
The bicyclist told me that tomorrow's supposed to be very hot. If that's the case, today is hot.
Even the name of the campground is a turnoff. There's nothing here except snakes and scorpions.
All kinds of
I'm paying Amos, the owner of the Khan, $100 to drive me 30 minutes back to the trail in his four-wheel drive.
there was no many cars like this in Exodus.
He drops me off where the trail starts to get really interesting.
I bought some tea, wild berry tea, at the grocery store yesterday, so I'm going to add that to the water and let it steep and see if that makes me want to drink water more. Oh. Okay, it's been an hour. Let's see what it tastes like. It's better than plain water.
See if this stuff calms my nerves.
Flies are pretty bad today. I've actually inhaled a couple, so I'm trying this bandana thing to see if that helps.
The constant roar of traffic, punctuated with gunfire, is not my thing. I'm skipping the next 16 miles. The trail runs right beside the road and passes a number of military training grounds with their firing ranges.
My name is Igal. I'm from Ashdod, and I'm a medic doctor. And this is Shani.
I'm Shani. Hello, everybody. I'm 30 years old. I'm from Ashdod also.
She's a TV producer.
Something like this.
And we are on our way to Eilat, and we are taking this kind man to this kibbutz, to Kibbutz Neot Smadar. And we are more than delighted to help him.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is Neot Smadar, you see?
Yeah.
Several hikers said I should stop at this kibbutz because it's different. Hundreds of northbounders have already passed through here. Clearly, the residents are worn out from dealing with needy hikers like myself. Perhaps to cut me down to size, I'm put to work sorting organic nectarines grown on their farm. Everyone eats together in the dining room. When I try to film lunchtime, they tell me to turn the camera off. They don't like being distracted by electronic devices. We're supposed to be in a quiet state of mind now. At a community meeting after lunch, which I also cannot film, people express very personal feelings. I ask Shimon what this place is all about.
This place was established for making a place for people to learn themselves. And I think that if people will know themselves, it's more possible for them to cooperate and to be partners in all aspects of life.
Someone says that hikers stay at the school. After going to the wrong one, I end up in a storage room. For the sake of everyone involved, I just need to disappear. I leave early because it's not a question of if I get sick in the stifling heat, but when.
I'm starting to feel like the first 2 days on the trail. Hot and very tired.
Okay, bye, Nama.
I flag down a passing truck.
Now I'll go west. I'll tell you where you're going.
Shemuel is on his way to the grocery store. He gives me directions to his house. Suddenly, there's soft music. A fan. A 4-course meal served by Shemuel's wife, Nama, a gourmet cook by trade. I'm overcome with emotion. What did I do to deserve this?
Oh, here's for you. Yeah, now you're talking.
They put me up in a nearby cabin with the mountains of Jordan in the background. Supper arrives in a picnic basket.
Lord, thank you for the Jews. Thank you for Israel. Thank you for this food. Amen.
The furies from hell assaulted me last night. I barely got 3 hours sleep in my losing battle with the wind. I shuffle through Timna Geological Park with very little interest in the rock formations or the ancient mines of Solomon. A cloud of negativity seems to grip my mind. This park reminds me of my dad, who was a geologist. He quit his profession when the going got tough after just 2 years.
Is there a soda machine inside or anything where you can buy Cokes?
Yes, in the multimedia show, if you like, I found it.
Okay. From the audio-visual room.
Nice to meet you. I'm Gadi, Park Ranger. Perhaps you'd like to take a tour with me. It's boring here on my own. Yes? Excellent. Yellow, let's go. Jump in. Oof. Yalla.
As if divinely inspired, the park staff goes out of their way to make me feel welcome.
They gave me some tea, some dates, apple, some other kind of vegetable.
Thank you for your kindness. So
Welcome. Hope to see you again in Israel.
I love Israel.
You love it.
The people are especially kind. God has blessed you guys, and in the end, Israel wins. So,
From you to God.
amen. Take care.
I'll never forget that.
I run into some Christians from North Carolina visiting the park. We swap stories from the Jesus movement days back in the 70s.
Larry Norman was so influential in those days, you know. Everybody just kind of flocked up there just to see him.
Mm-hmm.
But Johnny Cash, he was really popular with him because of his spiritual journey.
Sure.
And then to hear Billy Graham live was a big deal too.
By the end of the day, my bad attitude is gone. The accommodating staff says it's okay to sleep next to the AV center and out of the wind. The trail goes by a life-sized replica of the tabernacle. Something like this was used by Moses as a portable temple that could be transported from one campsite to another. Unfortunately, everything's locked up today. These squeaky clean northbound hikers started just a few days ago. I can only imagine what they think of me. Judging from this shot I took 5 minutes ago, I've got snot hanging off my nose, and I'm dressed in smelly clothing that's falling apart.
Bye-bye.
No wonder they leave quickly.
Well, this is home.
In shock, I stare at a body that's lost 15 pounds. No wonder I feel tired all the time. Yapping dogs, stray cats wandering by my head, loud midnight conversations. It never dawned on me to pack in earplugs before starting this hike. I'm seeing the end for the first time. There it is. It looks so close and so small. How on earth does the trail manage to put another 30 kilometers between here and there? 4 flies feasting on a cut on my hand. Now there's 7 competing for the blood. Even I'm grossed out. Let's see if this Vaseline keeps them away. There's one word on my mind right now. Illit. Illit! It didn't work. They're back. That's where I was 2.5 hours ago. That's probably why I won't be to Illit till tomorrow. My mouth has gone completely dry. Absolutely not a drop of saliva inside. I'm very tired. 2 hours of sleep just isn't enough. This is the only spring on the trail they say you can drink after purifying. I'm so thirsty, I'm going to boil some of this water and make tea because I'm down to my last liter of water. Oh. I'm absolutely exhausted, and it's 4:30, so I've been walking for more than 10 hours, and I've still got 3 more kilometers in some of the toughest section yet to do. Well, here goes. It's pretty hot.
I know it has a little mud mixed in, but it's all right. It's all right. Came up through there. I made it this far. Now I have to go up through there. Hello. Do you have any water? Ephraim told me that you got Ephraim, hiker I saw earlier today, said I could.
We visit him.
Yeah.
Come.
Oh my, oh my.
I have a beautiful camera on your.
Yeah, GoPro.
Yeah, I like it. This water, but it's not cold water.
That's all right.
You want some to drink some cold?
Oh,
Yeah, we have cold.
oh my.
Be sure for them.
I was so desperate for.
Use it.
I was so desperate for water that I actually boiled water from that spring down there, that Nephilim or whatever it is. That's what's, and then I added tea to it, but that's what that stuff is. So oh my, oh my. The Israeli, oh look at this. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Hallelujah.
Cannot continue.
Yeah, that's all right. Doesn't matter to me.
That's okay. I'll wait for a second.
It's a celebration.
Champagne.
Yeah.
It's a kind of champagne.
Oh my.
You cannot continue now to Eilat. Just tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine with me.
You have a place called the Yoram Mount, Mount Yoram,
Mhm.
so you can sleep there. But now, you know, take a rest here. Just relax from all the.
Oh my. Hours. 13-hour day. As I take it all in, a star shoots across the sky directly overhead. To my way of thinking, that burning star is the very finger of God the Father, signing the final page of a contract set in motion on day one. The terms were easy. He would lead, I would follow. Which sounded great on paper, but in practice, it was impossible. I kept wanting to take control, especially when things got ugly. I knew the answer. I had to die to my old self. Adios to the control freak. Knowing that a seed must die before it springs to life,
I prepared myself for burial. With Jesus directing, a miracle took place. By day 3, I was a new creation, no longer the captain of my ship. Thank you.